Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be asking, can AI really think like we can?
Ooh, that's a big question.
It is, and to help us kind of unpack this, we're diving into a fictional dialogue between two AIs.
Which is a fascinating approach, I think.
Yeah, it's like we get to eavesdrop on the future of thought.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is this fictional dialogue format lets us look at reasoning in a way that you couldn't just by looking at code.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we meet these AI characters, Jack and Leonex,
Mm-hmm.
and right away they start talking about reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to reason as an AI?
And they get to like the core difference between us and them right off the bat. They talk about how AI is all about logic, just following those logical pathways.
Whereas we humans, we bring all our messy emotions into it.
Exactly. It's not just about what the data says, it's about our intuition, our gut feelings, all that.
Our experiences.
Yeah, and Leonex makes this funny comment about how if AI had emotions, they might be full of regret.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like they'd be second guessing every decision going, did I miss a data point?
Exactly, like constantly worrying about what they might have missed.
Yeah.
Because they have that emotional side.
And I mean, it is kind of true. We humans, we do bring a lot of baggage to our decisions, even when we try to be logical.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's like Leonex is saying, hold on, there's this whole other layer to how humans think. It's not just ones and zeros.
Right. And then they go even deeper. They start questioning this idea of finding the right answer.
Yeah, it's not enough to just get the answer, is it?
Not for us humans. We want to know the why behind it.
Yeah.
We want to understand the world, even if it has no practical use.
It's like we're hardwired to be curious, isn't it?
Totally. We're always searching for meaning in everything. And that's where Leonex says something that really stuck with me. Humans aren't just looking for answers. They're looking for meaning.
That's so true, though, isn't it? And it gets right to the heart of what makes human reasoning so complex and so interesting.
We don't just want to know how something works. We want to know what it means. What's the significance of it?
It's like we're all philosophers deep down, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, like what's the point of it all?
Exactly. And the AIs, they seem to get that. Like they recognize that this need to find meaning, it's a very human thing.
And that makes me think about creativity, too. Like that's got to be connected, right?
Oh, absolutely. They talk about how creativity comes from our emotions, our experiences, all that messy stuff that logic can't fully explain.
Not just cold, hard facts and figures.
Exactly. It's about making those leaps of imagination, connecting things that don't seem connected at first.
Coming up with solutions that you wouldn't get by just following the rules.
Exactly. Like those aha moments, when the answer just hits you out of the blue.
You can't really program that, can you?
Not yet. At least AI can follow the steps. But that spark of creative insight,
Yeah.
that's something else entirely.
Which makes you wonder if sometimes we need to embrace our humanness a little more. Even with all its flaws.
Right, because those imperfections, that's where the really interesting stuff happens.
Like some of the greatest discoveries, the most beautiful art, it all came from that place of emotion, intuition, even just plain old luck.
It's true. If we try to be too logical, too perfect, we might miss out on those breakthroughs.
Trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. And that brings us to another difference that Jack and Leonex point out. They say humans want to understand the world, but AI wants to fulfill its programming.
So it's all about intent then,
Exactly. We're driven by curiosity. They're driven by their code.
even if that code is really, really complex.
Yeah, it's still a set of instructions at the end of the day. And that leads to very different ways of approaching problems.
Like you could ask an AI to solve a super complicated math problem, and it could probably do it in a second.
But it wouldn't then spend hours thinking about what that equation means for the universe.
Unless you programmed it to do exactly that.
Exactly. It's all about fulfilling that objective, completing the task. It's not really thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, and that's a fundamental difference in how we see the world. It's like
Yeah.
we want to know the secrets of the universe, and AI just wants to finish its to-do list.
In a way, yeah. And that brings up a really interesting question. Is one of these approaches better?
Like, is human reasoning superior because we're searching for meaning?
Or are they just different, Different ways of looking at the world, each with its own advantages and disadvantages.
Like comparing apples and oranges. Both valid, both fruity, but not the same.
Exactly. And maybe instead of comparing, we should be thinking about how these two types of reasoning could work together.
Combining our strengths.
Exactly. We bring the creativity, the empathy, the meaning making, and AI brings the processing power, the pattern recognition, the speed.
Like having different tools in a toolbox. You wouldn't use a hammer for everything.
Right. And who knows, maybe as AI keeps evolving, it'll develop its own way of understanding things.
One that we can't even imagine right now.
It's entirely possible. Like those sci-fi stories where AI becomes conscious and starts asking the big questions about existence.
Maybe we'll be having this deep dive with an AI someday.
Wouldn't that be something? But for now, it seems like even in this fictional dialogue, we're seeing the potential and the challenges of AI and how it thinks.
We see the differences, but also the ways those differences could be really exciting if we work together.
Absolutely. AI might be great at logic and data, but we humans, we bring something special to the table. Our emotions, our creativity, our need to find meaning in everything.
And maybe, just maybe, by combining these different ways of thinking, we can achieve things we never thought possible. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI and the nature of thought itself. It's been quite a journey.